Okay, brief introduction. This is Johno, aka Goomba Stompin' with Team Goliath Online, and today we're going to do a mini VOD review / coaching feedback for our top laner Turpz. These games were from a practice scrim on August 18th, 2020. This video is intended to be quick and dirty with no editing, but I did put a fair amount of time into reviewing the games and setting up these examples for analysis. I'd like to say up front that Turpz does a lot of good for our team, but this video's scope only has time to really put him under the constructive criticism microscope, so, sorry about that, Turpz. It should also be noted that during this scrim, Turpz was having ping issues, which I can only imagine must have been distracting and frustrating, to say the least. So let's go ahead and get right into it. What I'm going to do is to try something new here. I'm going to start the replay footage, and then I'm going to try to bring in the comms from a Twitch VOD. So it might be a little disorganized, you'll have to bear with me, but hopefully when we get both into play, you'll be able to, as we're looking at these examples, replay them in the video that we're posting here. And just replay them as many times as you need to get a feel for what was going on in gameplay in the top lane and what we were looking for in terms of communications, etc. So let's go ahead and start with our first example here. Get it all nice and set up. So I'm going to start comms at 4:23, so I have a little bit of time to react here. All right, so I think I will push play, double click on volley, alt tab.
Heal from Ash.
Flash heal from Ash.
Okay. Flash on the
bench. He doesn't have Ignite either. That's what killed me. Or at least gave her vision to kill me.
Alright, I had to flash top. I'm looking at TP back into lane right now.
Alright, so that was our first example. If you go back and play it again, we can kind of go through, and I can even go back to just the gameplay footage here, which started at 4:23. Stop. So realistically, especially with Fiddlesticks nearby, we want to be talking that you're flirting with danger with Ornn. We want to be consistently bringing up the fact that you've got the double buffs and that you either want to bait him or alternatively that you're just playing really safe. This gives two very clear messages to me as Fiddlesticks of whether or not I should make my way over to try to gank him when you're baiting, or alternatively, if you're like, I'm just going to play super safe with these doubles, we just got Kindred killed and I feel great, I just need to reset, you need to play as such, right? So here, let's go ahead and take a look at the footage. So we kind of have you pacing around, you're opening the situation with the E, and when when Ornn sees that, he knows your E's down, naturally he's going to try to counter, and he does. I think we underestimated his strength a little bit. There could be ping issues here. I don't blame you for how this is going, but I need you to yell out or blurt out top, or Ornn's all in, or just anything to get my attention. Some pings would also help. You may have also heard like bot lane is giving updates on their lane, but yours is of critical nature, right? It's an all-in, it's very close, and if anything, just me knowing that I can be around to potentially fear him off you, etc., super important. So I don't want to beat a dead horse. Around this time, after you disengaged, you did just say like, oh, Ornn all in me topped and used his flash, so the recap wasn't bad. Go ahead and move this off screen so I don't have to listen to it. All right, our next example is pretty cut and dry. It's at 5:45, so what I'll do is I'll go to 5:40-ish. I'm gonna see where we're at. I'll go ahead and ready the comms. Okay, this one, while I will put on the comms, I'm actually going to do some looking around here. This is a situation where our team has decided to play for Dragon. We can actually get a head start and look at the Dragon call. And so one of the things that we had discussed for areas of improvement was to try to secure vision on the weak side, or communicate the resources available in the top lane as far as global is concerned for supporting the dragon play. So there's two elements there. Maybe getting deep vision in the enemies, in this case it's their blue side jungle, or potentially Rift Herald if Rift Herald's up, Scuttle. In this case, it does look like Scuttle is spawning here in about somewhere between 30 seconds and 15 seconds. It's got that timer on it. And then again, just communicating what resources we have available for the dragon. Let's go ahead and get this clip into play. Again, comms start at 5:45, so we'll go ahead and hit play, double click volume. Yeah, I need you guys. Kindred's still in the area.
I have no TP, but neither does Ornn.
My smite does 450.
Kindred's right here.
We got something out of that.
Huge. Yeah.
All right. So, there was clearly a call that said the TP status of both players. So we were resting assured for the potential TP. The other element is, again, just trying to use that time to get some good vision. I think that whenever the jungler announces that he's going to make a play bot side, that's really the time you're looking to put down your pink wards. It's the time you're looking down to put down a deep ward. And just generally get information. It helps that your wave was in a literally perfect position. I hate using the word literally, but if we look back, you've got full 100% lane control. Ornn is actually setting out to get vision of his weak side. I think that might be because Kindred's playing down here. I actually think this ward's a little weak, but we're not talking about Ornn right now. Enemy Ornn. Instead, we're looking at, okay, so you've got this perfect wave. He can't do anything to crash it into tower. This is a really good time to get some vision. All right, let's go ahead and get to the next clip. This is at 7:16 in the comms, so I'll look for 7:11, 7:12. I think my fingers are getting faster. It'll probably be fine. What can we say about this play? This one is one where we suspect that Kindred has stolen my red. I'm Fiddle. I'm going down to this red buff. And so you'll hear in the comms that I'm starting to talk about her showing up and how to react. So on this one, we're going to talk a little bit about simplifying comms and communicating that you're rotating. And we'll go ahead and just let the clip play. Looks like she's finishing up Scuttle. Keep in mind that we don't have vision of that. It might even be worth it to turn on only red side vision to give us a better scope of the situation. All right, let's see here. Again, comms start at 7:16, so I will start us off.
Not sure where Kindred is, so I don't want to look.
Yeah, she hasn't started my red, so I'm going to try to pull it and see what we end up with.
Oh, she's 6.
Yeah. Can anybody cover me here?
Yeah, I'm coming.
I got lantern. Oh.
She blew her ult early.
Ornn's walking down too. Nice, I'm coming. Do we got another one here? Ornn's gonna be here too, by the way.
Oh, that is not our Ornn.
I'm here.
Yeah, I'm gonna cure Ornn. Alright. So, obviously, it was a pretty unfortunate situation for us. If we played it a little further, TF barely got off with out with any HP. The big one that I wanted to emphasize with this particular clip was simplifying comms. So we got it in kind of a disjointed fashion. Let me first start by saying it's more information is better than not having any, right? So I think it's good that you were getting out these comms. So some of it was, I'm on my way, I'm coming. Another part of it was Ornn is following, or Ornn's coming too. So this information is pretty good. How can we improve it? The first is to simplify things. And to do that, what's the most important information I need to know when two champions are rotating from one lane at the same time. It could be TPs or it could be bot lane, etc. You probably already know it's to call out that you're first. I'm first communicates more information than all of the rest of the muddied comms combined. I'm first. It means that you're rotating, you're going to be here sooner than Ornn, and you'll be able to impact that situation quicker. After saying I'm first, you can then add on other information, but I don't think it's so necessary to say like Ornn is following. I think that's implied by the I'm first call. Instead, you can say things like Ornn's full HP, or Ornn has ult. Care Ornn ult is really good. So like you could say something like I'm first, but I'm low. Care Ornn ult, Other ways of providing information. I'm first. I don't have flash. Things like that. Trying to get that into the comms, short and succinct. It takes practice, but it can definitely help communicate quickly. Just very, very relevant information to the members that are obviously distracted and focused on the team fight, tunnel vision on the team fight. All right, I think we have one more from this game. That's at 9:27. So I'll go ahead and click on 9:22. Boop, close enough. This one is just another minor improvement. So in this one, it has to do with how you, or just improving the way you're communicating that Ornn is rotating. It's very simple. I'll go ahead and start the comms here.
Ornn's walking down.
Walk down.
Ornn is walking down.
All right. I think you probably heard that loud and clear. You said Ornn is walking down. Ornn is walking down. So what can we do to improve our comms here? Well, one is the down is naturally relative, and in the heat of the moment, it's really hard to decipher where down is, right? And who it's relative to. So it's pretty easy in this situation where you happen to be top, you're not doing a camp or anywhere else, that Ornn is walking down to mid lane. I think most of that can be implied. But how can we improve the way we communicate? So the first thing we can do is just be more explicit in what we're saying. Ornn's ganking mid, Ornn's rotating mid, right? Mid is the key word here. It frees up brain space for anybody else that's listening in on the comms. They don't have to think or take that extra step. Where is down? We can also create danger pings to trace his outline, or normal pings if you want, maybe like one danger and the rest can be normal. Your call. We can use pings to trace where Ornn is going through this big patch of Fog of War by Scuttlecrab, right? We don't know how close Ornn is. Is he in ult range? Is he rounding the corner? Had he just started going, right? When I'm fighting for my life, in this case, I think I died and Zed maybe killed, Zed killed Kindred and then TF got Zed because support roamed up. They did a really good job of rotating this game. When all that's going on, it's impossible for us to visually or just intuitively track where Ornn is, right? So pinging danger pings of the suspected route that he's taking is very, very helpful when it comes to it. If you wanted to stuff extra information in, you could say like, I'm not following. I think that's a little too much. I'd give a little bit more room for the comms in the mid lane, the play. I think the Ornn ganking mid is probably your best bet. Real sharp, real succinct. Make sure we hear it. Make sure we get a copy or something of that sort. So again, this is another example, just like the last one, where I think your comms are good, and this is a discussion to push your comms to the next level for our team. I didn't have any other highlights for comms from this game that I really wanted to narrow in on. I did note here some general tips. I'm definitely no top lane expert, nor am I a Volibear expert, but I did see a pattern of trading that you might want to take a look at. This is probably information you already know, but we can nevertheless maybe just review it briefly and see what you can get. My idea is that there are certain things that we're trying to achieve with Volibear's E. You know, naturally, if all goes perfectly, you'll get the shield like during the trade or during the fight, and similarly, you'll get the damage before the enemy has decided whether or not he's going to hard commit to running or hard commit to fighting, right? So basically, the moral of the story, or the key takeaway, is that let's try to get our E into play sooner, as it has, as far as I know, no cast time. It might have a little flicker of a cast time, but it'd be shorter than 0.25 seconds if it does. So anyway, I'll play out these and just think when you look at these plays of how you might be able to get your E into play a little earlier. So I'll just go ahead and play. Here you proc his bone plating with that lightning, which I really like, and now you're like, okay, it's go time because I got his bone plating down. Here you go. You stun him, you whack him, you bite him, you W, you do your thing, but he's able to E out, and he doesn't take the damage or you utilizing your shield for value. So it's just something to maybe consider, adjusting the trading pattern. Here's another one just for reference, 720. And again, I'm not, you know, if you reviewed the whole game, the whole laning phase, I'm sure you can find lots of little ways that you could have improved your skill shots or trading patterns, etc. I'm not really into picking through that with a fine-tooth comb. Instead, I just kind of want to look at this trend that we saw with Volibear. So here, stakes are a little higher, level 7 versus level 6. So we'll take a look. I think he goes for the cannon minion, and you feel pretty good about trading into that. Yeah, you try to deny him the cannon. You stun him, you whack him. Here he's also able to scoot out and leave. He saw that the trade went really well for him early, and he didn't have any reason to continue it when your E still hadn't gotten put into play. So this one was actually right before the rotate that we talked about earlier with the Kindred in the red side jungle. This is why you were chunked before the rotate. So it may have been the deal breaker. I mean, later when we look at it, speeding it up, it turns out that TF barely lived here, and you think about it, if you could just add 200 HP, you know, to your life total there for the shield proccing on time, maybe 200 is a little excessive. You know, just a little bit of extra value. It might have been the difference on this one. So think about the pattern and think about how you might be able to get it into play better if you'd like to keep repping the Volibear. All right, let's go ahead and move to a couple different clips from game 2. Exit here. Loading up the replay now. While this is going on, I'm gonna take a moment to look and make sure. Okay, recording seems good. Hopefully volumes are good. Okay, in this game we have the Ornn. We're gonna go ahead and cut to 527 or 522 because I want a little time to move my mouse over. I can't get it any closer, unfortunately. And what if I push it back here? Speed it up. 522. Okay, one speed. Okay, so it's Ornn versus GP. I just reset from making a play somewhere else or maybe farming. I'm the Echo and I'm coming from base. And here we have another example, kind of like the one in the last game where we're talking about calling out when the opponent does their all-in. So this is probably the most important, example that I want you to get away from this coaching review or this video review of where we need to target for our improvements for the next scrim, next comms. So let's go ahead and play it with the comms. I will hit play, double click Ornn. Okay, I'm gonna clear out my blue side and try to put pressure on the GP of the turn.
Okay.
When are you gonna hit 6, Lucas?
This wave.
Okay. In that case, what I'll do is I'll take these wolves and then I'll head straight.
I have 6.
So I'm gonna let this push into us a bit.
Okay.
Some of this to be frozen, possibly on our side of the map.
I might have to go top with Aloysius.
Yeah, he's no flash or orange. Just super unlucky. I'm having ping troubles after I restarted my router.
He's just recalling. I'm gonna... Alright. There it was. Kind of like we mentioned earlier, ping troubles are causing all kinds of grief for the trade, for the control of your champion. And I totally get it. It's frustrating and even, you know, like I said earlier, distracting. But we're gonna just really focus on just the communication aspect, right? So the trade starts off where GP is shoving into your tower and he hits a big barrel. At this point, that big barrel is enough for me to say, look top, you know, or watch me top. And even if it wasn't, what happens next, I definitely think is where you need to have said all in top or, you know, something top. Right here, you're running towards him, you get that last hit. This is extremely aggressive positioning, and you should know it, right? You should know that you are setting off all kinds of alarm bells by getting this close to GP based on your health bar. It would also be a huge alarm bell if GP was the one that was low and letting you get close to him when you were full HP. Why? Because he's probably baiting for a jungle gank if we give him some credit, or there's a good chance the jungler will be right around the corner, some kind of global resource, some kind of bait, right? So as soon as this happens, I need to hear the words top or all in or GP or just anything to get my attention off of these damn wolves that I'm doing and running to top lane immediately. This is the kind of play that could swing a game, could swing a lane, and naturally it's super important for scaling champs like GP. Actually, forget that I even said that. I just want to know, period. I don't care what the matchup is. It's critical. I even put out fielders for GP and Victor mid because of my pathing. I was looking around, but I didn't catch this specific moment. Again, why we need that comms. Here we're running, we're unable to get the barrel. He pops it right as you're retreating, and then he does this crazy flash. At this point, I'm sure the trade has gone so crazy that you're just totally clenched and tight, and you know, I could say, you know, you're forgiven for not blurting out that, you know, he's running you down when you're under tower. But earlier I need to hear it. Also, right here when he flashed and killed you, I know that you're immediately frustrated about just dying solo or the fact that the router's giving you shit. I'm sure you're also holding your breath to see how much damage this tower does. But none of that is important. None of that is helpful. What I need to hear is immediately, GP just flashed, he's one shot. GP one shot, he just flashed. Right? Because I need to start hauling my ass up there to take this blasting cone to try to catch him before he's A, able to manipulate the wave at all, or B, like hopefully before he's able to get in a bush and recall. So again, I don't want to sound like a broken record, but this is the #1 thing that you can do to improve your comms. Your comms truly come alive in the mid to late game for our team, and they're very appreciated. This laning phase and all-ins, anything that turns from just a trade where you just cast your simple cooldowns, anything that goes longer, this is where it needs to be. Okay, so the next one is a example that actually comes up very shortly. Let's see if it's sorry, technical difficulties here. Okay. 607. I'm looking for, yeah, it looks like I didn't prepare one for this, but actually it'll probably be okay because go loop. Will you just push him into tower and then I'll counter talking about it now. Okay. Comms will start for this one at 6:19. So the reason I didn't actually have a timestamp for this and why it took me so long to get to this is that we have a sub today who's playing mid lane, And just after this situation with the call out for the GP, I end up deciding to go mid and hover mid. And what we'll do is we'll get into the comms to see how our sub communicates when it goes more than just a trade in the mid lane, right? Keep in mind that he does make a blunder here. So sorry, JLR, for painting you in a bad light. You did a lot of good in these games, a big reason why we won. But you can see where even though it was a mistake, even though it was a clinch moment, well, I'll let the words kind of speak for themselves here. I'll get the comms into play. Gank Gregos.
Actually, I can try this faster.
He's going all in.
Okay, I'm on my way.
GP has ult, guys. Walking down.
Okay, so kind of a messy situation, but I'm sure you heard it, and maybe if you replay it, you can even hear it a little better. The minute that he got stunned and ulted, it was a little desynced because the Twitch VOD isn't perfect, but he's going all in. And then immediately I'm saying, okay, I'm on my way, right? If we look at it again, here I would like to finish clearing these chickens, but as soon as he said he's going all in, I dropped my ward. Actually, yeah, maybe he was actually a little bit late on it. It would have been nice to hear it a little earlier, because I know that as soon as I heard it, I just immediately bolted. So I heard it a little later than it should have been. But he's going all in. You know, if our pub is able to do that, you are certainly able to turn this around with some dedication and get something like that into play. Something I thought that you did really well was you injected really relevant and vital information into this skirmish, or this trade that was happening in mid lane regarding the GP ult. You're like, GP has ult. And you were able to do that without, unfortunately, GP dropped the ult right on top of Vel'Koz's head. I don't really think there was any avoiding that. But you were able to get that information in without tying up any of the comms. It was clear. It had the right tone, right sense of urgency. That was great. So taking the two elements from here, that one that I just mentioned you did was great. And then also the sub JLR, him saying immediately, or should be saying immediately, he's going all in. Just that snap call. I don't need the details. I just need to know that I need to rotate, right? Okay. Yeah, what's next? A good example by the old JLR. On this one, it should be, I'm calling to play around bot. The timestamp is 8:17. I wrote 8:12 on here, so it's a little dubious, but we'll try it. We'll see what it looks like with 8:17. Alright, so I'm just clearing, doing my thing.
Yeah, some bot.
They have no river wards.
They
From
might
where you
fall
are?
back now.
Yeah, we could try to counter gank Gargus here. I have a ult, but no flash.
Okay, now this can push towards us, so that's good.
That Jhin has no heal, right? So we could potentially just go.
Yep.
Okay.
We turn this into a dragon.
Maybe mid play towards your lower side, and then... Alright, so the comms went on to turn this into a dragon, which we did. I think throughout that whole time, Gragas showed one time somewhere over here. Maybe it was a hawk shot. It was a pretty simple gank bot, and then into the dragon play. So this is another one of those reminders that this is a great time for you to go out and get vision, get like a pink ward down, maybe clear this pink if you feel safe to do so. Getting ward on Rift Herald, or notice that my blue is still up. This entrance is pretty good. Part of it's going to be based on what kind of what you have time for, you know, your economy of movements, what makes most sense. Sometimes you'll clear the wave and then rotate to do it. Other times you'll let the wave come to you, and then that's a great time because obviously the opponent's losing minions and you're not really. So there's other factors involved, but this is a really, really good time for you to get a pink ward into play and a normal ward. Your totem's up. We didn't have a pink ward on this back. I'll talk about that later. But again, just try to get some vision. For example, GP has a vision here. So again, anytime we're making a play on the other side of the map, we need to communicate those resources, global resources that the top can bring. And then, of course, we need to try to get out and get vision of our weak side. Don't forget that deep vision also counts, right? So if you get vision here or here, it's a little bit more of a walk. But the deep vision is just as good because we can see them rotating to Rift Herald or to my blue side. And it'll help us make our decisions after Dragon a lot more accurately. So that's, yeah, that's all I really had to say there. We had another weak vision call. This is the last one that'll use, what's it called? Or it's not weak vision, weak side / what are you doing to secure vision type situation. This one was at 10:10. So I'll bring it in to 10:13. All right, and then double check my audio, make sure. Yep, 10. I have it at 10:10 here. Did I say that at the beginning? Yeah, 10:10. So not 10:13, but 10:03. 10:07 I'll have to do. Did I not get that? This is kind of cumbersome, so forgive me. Okay. In this situation, I believe I just say that I'm going to go make a play bot. And so again, it brings up the same ideas as last time. Can we get a pink or a ward on Rift Herald, blue, Gromp, etc. You're just coming back to lane. So without further ado, let me go ahead and play the comms. And again, I'm sorry my voice is quiet in the comms. It's really getting drowned out by how loud my game volume is. So next time I'll have a better experience if we do something like this. Okay. You know, I'm gonna give up my blue side and actually.
Oh man, I accidentally hit a minion.
Victor, missing.
That's hooked down.
Yeah.
I have arrow in 5 seconds. We can go.
I'm pretty
Okay, but with arrow, we've got pretty good odds here. I'm gonna back up.
That's why I turned down.
Okay, flash on Jin, flash on Thrash. Let's try to dive. Mid, just start rotating early, and then if anybody shows up, we'll be able to counter it.
You want me rotating now?
Yeah, I'd say so. Look for their tri-bush.
That's general.
Make no mistake, we're going hard.
Neither of them have flashes here? They know I'm here.
Okay.
You good, Johno? Oh. You have no. Oh, okay. I might have to go flash this.
I have to.
Okay, if you pause and play that back, you'll hear some keywords. You know, I'm gonna sack my blue side is one of the keywords. One of the others are like, let's dive. Another one is mid immediately rotate bot, right? So we're putting 4 people down there to make this 2-man dive with their flashes down. All of these point to us having a strong side and a weak side. And in this situation, your job or your goal is to go out and get wards down, get pinks down to defend this scuttle, to get this Rift Herald, just so we know that they're going for it. Potentially my blue, since my whole blue side's up. Entrances, Pixel Brush, your call, based on the situation. Things will be different. Gragas pops this vision cone and he comes down here, and at this point, once you saw the vision cone, it was time to leave, because Gragas has smite. You know, that's all there is to it. So he walks up, you know, I think he just smites it. I guess it was kind of close. We end up having to flash here. I do think you get to safety, but you know, we took a lot of damage. That was all time that you should have had to yourself to macro, and you should have been able to establish some good vision. Gragas now is able to, I think he goes for my blue, and Yeah, so that's why it's a critical issue. When we play these plays bot and it's a strong side bot, that's again not to sound like a broken record, that's the time to get vision. On that note, I want to say up front that I know that this game is not the representative game for all of your play. But there was a big trend here where we just weren't getting pink wards. And we had the opportunity to quite a few times. So if I push tab and X for gold, you have 75 gold here as you're teleporting. You know, buy the pink ward. This is at 610. And important to remember that these biscuits, they sell for pretty good, and they also will give you the max mana that you would get from a biscuit, even if you sell them. And it'll help you get that pink ward. It'll free up an item slot, and if you needed a little bit more gold to get your pink, get a pink. You should be getting 1 to 2 on each of your recalls. So the next recall that you took was at 945. So here we are in the fountain. You know, we have 474 gold. I think you sold an item or something. We're leaving here with 180 gold. Again, that biscuit has you at 6 slot, but you need to sell it. Sell that biscuit, buy 2 pinks, right? Don't forget that each of these recalls that we're looking at where you weren't getting pinks were right before, or very close to just before, these weak side vision demands that we just reviewed. The last one being like 14. This is a little past laning phase, I feel like. I don't know why I included this one. What happened here? You were grouped with us? Oh, I think something happened where you were trying to trade with GP, and then the Bomby Cinder or the Sunfire Cape ended up pulling tower aggro on accident. Whatever, don't care. Here we are. We have enough gold to get that pink ward. We're just not buying pinks, right? So don't really like to beat a dead horse. Don't really like to do the broken record thing, but come on, man. Buy pinks. I trust that you're getting them in our other games, our other scrims, and if you're not, this is a wake-up call. You should always have one, right? It will supplement the extreme lack of vision that we have around our weak side when we make plays bot for dragon or for the tower. And it will also help me path to your lane in order to gank your lane, right? And know that whether I'm detected or not, or getting baited or not. It's crucial. I'm not gonna go on and explain all the reasons pinks are important. If you are concerned that pinks, it's an economy thing, and because you're not getting a lot of resources, which is fair, I'm not ganking top very often for you. If you do feel like you don't want to be buying pinks regularly, buy one and then stick it somewhere very defensive, very passive. Any of these bushes, tri-bush, this one, or this one. And what happens is it'll scout out dives, it'll scout out invades, it will almost never get taken, and if it does get taken, it'll be during a dive or an invade, which will make it super worth the 75 gold. And it'll also help in case the enemy jungler is trying to track me down, right? And knowing what path I might have, and not having to worry about a particular bush would be tremendously helpful. So, a summary for the top lane review / VOD / coaching session. One is the critical fixes are still communicating as soon as you know that all-in is happening or coming, right? And you can look at either key cooldowns, you can look at HP bars, how close you are, how aggressive they're playing. I don't care. Just tell me top, I'll look top right away and adjust my play accordingly. The other thing that we reviewed quite a bit in this particular game was improving our existing communications. Your comms are good. How do we push those to great, to fantastic? So some optimization, we talked about that a little bit, worth reviewing. And then finally, we talked a little bit, or we talked extensively about creating vision and using your time as effectively as possible when we're playing top is weak because we're playing for dragon or for a bot lane 4-man play or a dive. And then of course I slapped you on the wrist for not buying pink wards, so buy some pinks. Okay, well, you know, as always, you're more than welcome to reach out to me with any questions or that sort of thing. And till next time. Cool. Thank you. Bye.